Okay, guys, 7.3 spacecraft exploration of the solar system. Okay, so we will be talking about 4 types of spacecrafts. These are the spacecrafts we send into space. The first one is a flyby, the second one is an orbiter, the third one is probe, or what I think you would commonly understand as a lander. The fourth one is a sample return mission. Okay, so, here's a vague description of each one of them. They're pretty much understood in what they are called. A flyby means it flies by the Earth or the other planet and just maybe takes some pictures of it, does something like that. The second one is the orbiter. That means that it actually goes into orbit around a planet. The third one is a lander. It means it lands onto the surface of that planet. And the fourth one means that it goes to another planet, lands onto it, and then comes back to Earth. Okay? So, let's go through these. Know about these different types of spacecrafts is that some of them can be more than one of them. Okay, so like you can send something out that will fly by Mercury, Venus, and Mars, and then it's going to orbit around Jupiter. Okay, so it can be more than one thing. Okay, so let's go into these. The first one, flybys. Okay, so it just flies by a planet. It only does it once. If it does more than once, that means that it's orbiting around it, right? And that would be then an orbiter. These are the cheapest types of missions, okay? A good example of a flyby mission is the Voyagers. There's Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. These just flew by all the planets in our solar system, and then it set out on an outward trajectory and as of right now, it is the furthest spacecraft in space. It just passed the outer reaches of our solar system, and it's into interstellar space. Those are the two spacecrafts. Those are the only two spacecrafts that are in interstellar space, meaning that they're not inside of our solar system. Something that might make this cheaper is, let's say you're going to orbit around a planet. It takes fuel to slow yourself down and begin to orbit, and that fuel weighs a certain amount. So just so you can get an idea of how expensive it is, how expensive fuel is, okay? It's not that the fuel is expensive, it's that it is expensive to put it into space. So everything that goes into space right now costs somewhere between $5,000 to $10,000 a pound. So if you're gonna, let's say you're gonna make an orbiter that's going to go into orbit around Jupiter. Well, you got to slow it down, and you're going to have fuel in order to keep going around that planet. But let's say that you need an extra 10 pounds of fuel onto that spacecraft. Okay, that 10 pounds, you're going to need to multiply it by around $5,000 to $10,000 for each one of those pounds, just to make it orbit around the planet. Okay, so that's why these flybys are cheap. With a flyby, you don't even, if it can go around a planet, it can kind of give it like a little slingshot, and it can just keep on going, and it doesn't need fuel to do any of that. Okay, that's why these Voyagers, they don't need fuel. They're just going, and remember Newton's first law, is something in motion will stay in motion unless acted upon by another force. So these things are just going forever until something stops them, until they run into something. Okay, orbiters, they go into orbit around a planet. Sometimes what they'll do is, like Cassini was a recent one around Jupiter. It was going around, it went around some of its moons, it went around the planet, and then when they were done with it, they just crashed it. Well, it wouldn't be crashing it, but they just let it glide into Jupiter's atmosphere until it was crushed. Okay, so we don't bring these guys back. Once we're done with them, we feel as though we've used them to the point at which we don't need them anymore. We just crash them into the planets, or crash them into the moons, or let them get torn up by the atmosphere, things like that. Okay, a lander. Okay, we have landers on Mars. Yes, we have several rovers on Mars. We have also sent rovers to other planets. Russia has sent rovers to Venus, and those did not make it back, though. They sent some photographs back, but they were got ruined before they could stay on for very long, okay, because of the atmosphere and how hot it is there. So we still have rovers on Mars. Yeah, I'm sure you guys have seen these. Okay, and the last thing would be sample return missions. There's only been sample return missions to the moon. Okay, that would mean that they went to the moon, they landed, and they came back. What's special about these are the ones that probably get the most attention, and they're so cool, is that they can actually bring stuff back from that planet. Like a rover on Mars, all it can do is really maybe drill a hole or pick up a rock. It sends you information about it, but you yourself will never be able to hold that rock because it's not going to bring it back. So that's what's kind of nice about these sample return missions, although they are by far the most expensive. So there's all your types of sample return. There's all your types of missions, and that is 7.3. So, and that is the end of chapter 7. I hope you enjoyed. Bye.